hilarious is the opposite of what I just sat through just moments ago. I think we need to check on him, in a couple of months.
Check on who? Chris Rock?
Yeah, just check on him. Not like in that way of like, I super, super care about you, but sort of like, you have family members because, you don't choose your family. And you just feel like, as the fellow human being, let me go on and make sure that person's still upright. Put a mirror in front of their nostrils. All right. Maybe I'll open the window, change the trash, and then I'm out. That kind of check on. I agree with you wholeheartedly about the 4-year-old abortion joke. Yes, that was
the only That was the only thing that I laughed at.
I laughed at that, and it was a genuine. Like, oh my God, even the other rips, like until I maybe get his first report card, I was like, yes. That was hilarious. I felt it. I was like, I could see how people who don't have children, maybe like overly sensitive people who do have children, would be like slightly horrified. But that shit was really, really funny.
That was funny. Let me tell you.
That was a little glimpse of like a long time ago him. It's like, ooh, I see it.
First viewing, I had to watch it in sections because I kept just turning it off. Like, no. It wasn't even something that I could fall asleep to. Second viewing, because I knew what to expect, easily fell asleep to it. Wonderful to sleep to. Just got some really good, deep, restful.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Your REMs were popping. The only reason why I didn't cut it off was because of this. Had this been like yesterday, then I would have had to like put a little schedule, like, all right, watch in 20 minute or 15-minute increments. It reminded me of when somebody is working out their stuff, like where you're listening to the premises and you're like, ooh, you could get some funny shit out of this. We don't know what it is yet though, because we gotta like try. So like this reminded me of like your first practice of the stuff that hasn't been heard by a wider audience.
Except there was at least one joke where he literally has done it in a comedy special before. I know because I watched it on the extended version of the Tambourine earlier when I was trying to figure out what I liked about Chris Rock before seeing this special. And he literally told the exact same "my daughter bites people" joke. It's like,
really? Okay, I thought you were gonna say something else. I don't think that one didn't, it didn't sound familiar.
Yeah, he literally, there's an extended version of Tambourine on Netflix.
Okay.
It's in that same special as this one. And so I saw the special before they cut out the joke that he messed up. Switching out emancipated for concussion. There was a joke that Chris Rock messed up in the live version of the film that they've cut out. So I've seen the live version and I've seen the edited version now.
Okay.
Slept through the edited version and then attempted to, I put it back on and got all the way through it because I was doing other work that I had to stay awake for to do.
It is good for that. I can imagine how it would kind of be good. But yeah, I heard a lot of things where I was like, oh yeah, I see why this would be like one of the things that you would kind of want to poke at and interrogate until you get like what's going to be the bit, if anything. It just felt like, I don't know. It felt like the beginning, like of the evolution. I did not laugh a lot. Nothing like I have laughed at him before. At things where I was like, I hate that I'm laughing at this, but there's like a grain of truth to it. I just didn't have that. Oh my God. Like I had I'm talking like a long time ago. This time it was like the fact that I can like isolate it and count it out. I can not usually do that at a comedy special that I enjoy. You ask me and I might remember half of something, but then I mix it up. But it's like, just watch it. And this is like, I wrote down the timestamp. So
Yeah, at no point in that special did I have like even the 4-year-old abortion limit. I had to think about that later. Like in the moment, I was just like, "That's tough. That's cold, but true." And later on, I laughed about it. But in Tambourine, the extended version of Tambourine before, I actually chuckled out loud as I was watching. Like, didn't have any of those moments. And it's when he was saying that he went hunting with his grandfather in South Carolina and shot a rabbit and cried. And his granddaddy called him a faggot. And his granddaddy was a minister of a church.
It's like, yeah, that sounds.
I'm like, yeah, that tracks.
There's all kinds of like, wait a minute. Like, humanity is tricky. We all have our blind spots and POVs. Yeah.
That's the Chris Rock humor that I've come to enjoy, and that, so I went back and I reminded myself who this dude is. He's 58 years old now. He was originally born in Andrews, South Carolina, and spent time with his grandparents there. Eldest of 7 kids, but really came up in Brooklyn and was bused to a predominantly white school where he was regularly bullied and chastised by white people. So yeah, there are a lot of layers there, which for the life of me, I can't figure out why those layers managed to produce this selective outrage thing. Like, I mean, he knew that. I'm sure he took advantage of the release date. Oh, it just happens to come out right before the Oscars, a year after this infamous slap, which you have to milk. If you're in show business, you have to milk it. It was everywhere, So he knew he was going to have a ready, willing, and able audience just to see what he might say about it.
In Jada's hometown, I read.
Yes, in Baltimore, like, really, nigga?
Like, I'm surprised he didn't set up a little stage. Like, that's where she grew up. That's the house. Tricycle is still there. It's still there. Nigga. It's like, surprised they didn't do like an open call for casting of a little Black girl that suspiciously looks exactly like I just watched it maybe, and then also I have to admit, like, I have a lot of context. I have ignored all the think pieces, but there are some things that you just can't get away from. Like, I go on Twitter and, like the first comment has something to do with the thing. So off top, I knew, okay, there's some Meghan Markle shit. One woman, this is like right after it came out, because I had forgotten about it. And she's like, this nigga is really on here talking about, Will, like, busting that Will hit him and he's much smaller. This is why you a bitch ass nigga. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on with this special? And then there's like 4.5 million comments on that. I talked to you because like you a couple times just like, oh my God. Like, we just like send like those injection texts, like there's no intro, just like, this nigga is such a bitch. And I was like, I have to watch this, because she's like, you're like boiling over, like, and then you'd be like, yeah, you didn't watch that yet? And I'm like, I promise. I'm gonna watch. Like, let me go ahead. So I went in waiting for the 4-year-old thing, and it really hit. Like, I cracked up a long time. But I looked at his demeanor, and if the slap hadn't happened, this special, in my opinion, would have come out maybe 5 to 6 months later. Because he just looked, it was just rushed, sort of like, far be it for me to be like, I'm an arbiter of comedy, but you can just feel the, like, there's a lot of good stuff here. Like, let's really, really
work it out until
cut it out and drill it down and pull out the best stuff. Because sometimes you write a bunch of stuff, and what can come out of it is like 10 pretty good things on a varying degree, or like 2 really good, gonna last forever, will forever be associated with your name on your headstone bits from like 5 pages. And this just kind of sounded like everything made the cut. And then because he is a seasoned performer, there are ways that you can like judge stuff up just by the things that you do, how you drag it out, how you act it out, the facial expressions. And also, let's just be real, it's Chris Rock. There's a certain faction that's just going to be, I'm laughing because he walked onto the stage. I'm laughing because I'm out. I'm laughing because I cannot wait to hear what he's going to say about the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You know, but it just wasn't, it wasn't great. And the one thing I can say that it did, of course, it sparked discussion. It was going to do that regardless because everybody waited. That's why he didn't talk about Will in depth until the very end, because that's what everybody was waiting for. But what I kind of just could not really get with was there seemed to be a certain level of like an affectation, like I'm gonna play this part, I'm gonna play it up. He probably got over it a long time ago. There was some real anger there. You could tell when he went in and started talking about the bitch this and she told me to, and it was just like, okay, see, this should have been, the open mic should have been set up in the therapist's office because like, we should not be seeing this. You know, like somebody who fucks you or used to fuck you or would like to should be seeing this, or somebody that grew up in the same house with you. It was just too raw and it looked unhinged and he looked crazy. You know, and then I'm hearing, or I think you sent me the video about how like what he said wasn't even true.
He literally filmed this comedy special in Baltimore, her hometown, and then went on stage and lied and said that, oh, well, just watch the clip.
He fucking said he should quit because Will didn't get nominated for concussion. What the fuck? What the fuck? So then I do some jokes about it. Who gives a fuck? That's how it is. She starts it, I finish it, okay? That's what the fuck happened. Nobody's picking on this bitch. She started this shit.
That's a fucking lie. This is what the fuck she said.
Hey, Chris, I will not be at the Academy Awards and I won't be watching. But I can't think of a better man to do the job at hand this year than you, my friend. Good luck. And to the rest of you, nothing but love, always.
But at the end of it all, Will punched you.
Yeah, during that part about Jada, and then even what he said about Meghan Markle, it bothered me. And it's not like I'm gonna just cape for Meghan Markle. That's you know, I watched the documentary. She's a lovely lady, as is Jada. But it's not like I'm like, yeah, you know, let me form a bay hive for Meghan Markle.
Right. I was just gonna say you are not in the hive.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I'm asking in my mind as I'm watching this and not amused in the least, you know, willing myself to keep it on. What is with this colorism thing with you? Number one. And number two, why do you just reserve the most animosity for women? Even when he was talking about Jada, in the next breath, he talked about how much he loved Will Smith and looked up to him. And I'm like,
he's like, I used to love Will Smith. I even put myself in his shoes, like, yeah, you forget that they were regular people before we knew them as what they are. That must be wild. That's somebody that you grew up really admiring hit you. But then you could have done that without mentioning Jada. But
or calling her a bitch.
On Will, yeah, and the way he called her a bitch was very like locker room. Like it was just very like you got issues.
Yeah.
You have real issues. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
What the fuck? I don't think that you should have been hit. I don't. Did I laugh when it happened? Yes.
Yes.
Partly
Absolutely.
because the shit was funny, and partly because when it initially happened, I did kind of think, oh, this is going to end up being like
a bit. Yeah.
Like for a split second, until Will was sitting down, keep moving. I was like, oh no, because he don't look right. This is real. Okay, this is real because he looks like he about to cry, like that anger, like you don't want to cry.
It was so entertaining. Oh
yes,
my God.
It really, really was.
Oh man. Like
I also agree with when he was like, what his parents taught him. Yes. Source Awards, fine. Even the BET Awards, when it's kind of infiltrated sometimes.
No, it's not okay. It's not okay ever.
It isn't. But I would be less. I am choosing to apply my outrage selectively to certain award shows. But in general, he should have done that. I think it could have been just as impactful for us to find out that later from some blind item, Will took him aside and we're not sure what was said. And it's like, you know what? That makes sense. He should have done that. I think it was very stupid what Will did. I don't, however, agree with the people who, right after the special came out, were upset with him for talking about it. I thought that shit was crazy. There were a lot of people that's like, why is he talking about this? Why is he? And I'm like, okay, I don't cape for Chris Rock either, but to his credit, he really hasn't said anything about this.
He hasn't. People have been
And
asking.
he can talk about it if he wants to.
What he wanted. So it was a great marketing opportunity.
It was wonderful. He's smart. Kudos to him or his manager.
Yes.
Or his ex-wife.
Really capitalized on it in a very meaningful way.
Yeah.
This has been the talk of the town now for a couple of weeks. So, hey, kudos to you.
Well done.
Yeah. What I can't get over within the scope of this conversation are these fucking blind items. And I reserve a place for you in hell.
Wow.
introducing this shit to me. Because
enlightening, sweetening, enhancing. I think that's what you meant to say. So as a writer, you use the wrong words for things, but it's okay because we're friends and my love is unconditional.
No. This shit has been all consuming and it's been horrible.
It is, isn't it? Isn't it crazy?
I don't want to know the things that I know about these people now, especially if they're true. I would rather look, you know what? I learned my lesson from following Erykah Badu's tweets. Don't do that.
Jesus.
Don't do it. I learned not to do it because it was starting to affect the way that I felt about her music. Her music has been near and dear to me for so many years, but her tweets were ruining all of that.
Well, I can separate. No, but seriously, while we go on a tangent in the smallest of episodes, because we're nothing if not on brand and professional, I do think as two Black women that are on the precipice of everybody knowing us, I kind of like the reminder of the industry. Not that we are gonna, be in any of these situations. However, I'm kind of happy, for a while there, I just kind of started to take things at face value / just not believe in anything. Because I've never believed, it's like, oh, that's probably fake. Like people do things for money. Great. But to really, really know, it validated some things for me. Now I'm in a different situation than you, having a daughter and hearing at least, no lie, 3 times a day. When you gonna get her on TV? Like when you gonna get, and when she was first born, I'm like, oh, that would be cool for me to nurture. And then I kind of started to be like, I don't really know. Hearing this is like, bitch, you're doing a good job. Stay with what I decided. And I decided if she wants to go into that, what I'm going to do as a parent is find all of the opportunities for her to learn the craft and get her practice in, whether that's in weekly classes, in camps, and things like that, so that when she is choosing whether or not she's going to go to college, she can make that decision for herself. Because what happens is these kids start acting and they do love it. Many of them, they say they love it. But it's like you as the parent and the adult have to remember that they are kids and that there's a certain amount of things that they're going to do because they've been doing it and you're the parent. You don't have to be a stage parent that's threatening them for them to continue to do things. They are children. And I feel like if you are in charge of your child, the onus is on you to check in and seriously check in, not be like, I'm going to ask them this, but I really hope that they don't, back out because this money is nice. And I don't think that's even always bad. If you're able to earn money in big chunks and put aside for your child, I get it. But I do think that parents are human and kids are kids. And then you find out later, I actually hated that. And it doesn't even have to be some seedy child molester. It could just be, I didn't really want to do that, but because I'm a kid, I didn't know the words to say it.
For me, like, I have 2 boys. They're very handsome. They have extraordinary personalities.
Yes.
Would they do well in that world? They would, but no, it's not for them. And it's because the Hollywood is a very adult industry. It's a world of adult make-believe. And in the world of adult make-believe, anything and everything can happen. And this is coming from someone who's lived in Los Angeles, who's been on television and film sets, who was fortunate enough to be blissfully naive
Yeah.
during all of those times that I spent on those sets, enough to avoid getting caught up in that world. Because did I hear plenty of things on the streets in LA? Yeah, but I was never involved in them because I did not see it when it was right there in front of me.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like,
I mean,
there's no fucking way, because I'm like, I agree, let them choose it as adults. If Gabriel comes to me and says, hey, I want to get involved in acting, good, you be in the school play. You do these age appropriate activities, and understand what it is to continue to be human as you're doing all of this. And then if you want to make a vocation out of this, then you choose yourself as an adult. But I'm not going to subject you to that bullshit as a kid, because that's just throwing you to the wolves.
It really is. And then it also, the only way that you can make sure that your child is even like 90% normal, you really have to be there every step of the way. And I have no problem with that. I mean, helicopter parenting, I call it drone parenting. I will probably own up to, I have no problem with that. But then at the same time, do I want to do that? Like, not like, I don't feel like it, but that's a real commitment on my part, in addition to just regular old parenting,
Yeah.
I'm also not dead. There are things that I would like to do. I feel like I would be wrong to not go all out, and then also not even like find some classes or like something, like if she is like, I really love this, like this makes me happy. It's my responsibility, but it doesn't have to be on the national stage.
There was somebody who was telling me about like one of the few childhood stars who made it through unscathed. And I think they said the only one that they could recall was Kim Fields, because her mother was a very prominent and dominant force throughout her Hollywood career, made sure to keep her humble, keep her away from the vultures and out of the yachting and all that other stuff, which now, thanks to you, I know far too much about.
You have called my attention to that. Now I'm now haunted with it. So you're also going to suffer as much as I suffer. You got me noticing stuff I never noticed. It was not on my radar how many little people there are in New Orleans, as well as cross-eyed people. But when you said that about 20 years ago, for a straight week, that's all I saw. Everybody, people crossing the street, crossing guards, cops.
You needed to know.
The cashiers, I'd be driving and look over and it's like, wait, that person should not be driving. How could
you not have noticed? Like, it's all around you, as you clearly saw.
I had the appropriate filters on, and you were just like, let's just uncheck that box and uncheck that box. And now you'll get all the email. Spam. There's no spam here. We don't recognize spam. Send it all into the inbox.
I don't know.
Disable the virus protection? Sure, I just need that. And I was just like, oh no, there's malware everywhere.
Yeah. I remember like maybe my 3rd month there, I called back home to my mom. I was like, there is something in the fucking water out here. Because
racism.
Noticing some trends. A lot of people and a lot of wondering eyes. Just a lot. Per capita.
There's going to be a resurgence now.
It was extraordinary. It was extraordinary.
Per capita. Shut up. One last thing that I'll say, because I did have some positive things to say about this comedy special.
Did you?
And I appreciate it. Like, just as like when you're building a set, how he had the refrain that he went back to a couple of times. I don't need another rapper mad at me. It was kind of like, oh, okay. And it wasn't about the same person. He named a couple of them. So it was like, oh, that's it's a little routine, it's predictable, and I feel safe that, something was, like there were some bullets made, there was a little bit of planning, and I appreciate that. This is maybe not him, but maybe whoever the director or the camera person was, when he said the thing about we owe Rob Kardashian, or whatever the dad's name was, which I'm pretty sure it was Robert. We owe the Kardashian dad because he got OJ free. And he was like, a black man killed 2 white people. Like, oh my God, that's so impressive. And then he said, but then he cursed the man by saying, because of what you've done, your daughters are only gonna fuck niggas. And I kind of like laughed. And then whoever was operating the camera just found a random white woman laughing her ass off, sitting between a few of them. She was just surrounded by niggas. I thought, oh, okay, that's good. Like, I appreciate the connection. So that's the second thing. And I think there may have been a third. Abortion. And this is something that you hear a lot of younger girls say today, in that attitude that I wish I had, that wisdom that I wish I had when I was younger. Stop letting broke dicks come inside of you. It's like, that's good advice. Because he said something like, if you are paying for your own abortion, you should get an abortion. The other thing about people making woke ass tweets on phones made by child slaves, like, I kind of smiled. And then he said something about racist yoga pants, which just the thought of racist yoga pants, like when I pictured that, it made me laugh. But then like what he did with it didn't. Like when he started walking and he was like, the pants are just saying nigga. I guess those are examples of those things where it's like, ooh, you could get something out of that, but not that, but something. like keep at it. And that's it.
Yeah. Through all of this humor, I spent a good amount of time trying not to pass out from rolling my eyes in just disgust and chatment. Like, how many, I've heard so many Lululemon jokes, because that's what he was talking about, Lululemon.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And, while that advice coming out of a woman's mouth, don't let broke dicks come inside of you, sure, it's funny, it's great. Coming out of a self-righteous, woman-hating asshole's mouth kind of hits different. So even though I could have spent all my time agreeing with what he says, because when you said it, I agree with it.
Mm-hmm.
But when he said it, I'm just like, fuck you, dude.
I see that.
Fuck you. That's the one thing. Oh God. And see, I always want to root for everyone Black, always. So I don't want to say that I like when Seth Meyers knows that there's jokes that he shouldn't fucking tell and he leaves it up to someone else to tell, because Seth Meyers is a white dude. And I don't want to say that he's doing it better than fucking Chris Rock is. But, well.
The evidence is there. I was surprised that he said, don't let broke niggas come inside me, because one of the things that is kind of a theme, especially with his early stuff, is, talking about gold diggers and stuff. So I was like, I'm surprised that you just said this very progressive thing. But then again, there were certain things like that he did that I felt like were kind of performative, because it has become, it's supposed to be the common belief, like when he went out of his way to talk about, I know that there are victims, and like when somebody does all of that stuff and it's because they're about to say something like
really terrible,
like really, so I do kind of log it in with under that. Before a nigga who like has said a lot and just kind of had that bend of like women who are gold diggers, which I always thought was hilarious. It's like the same men who spend their 401ks at strip club and they talk about women gold digging. And it's like, don't act like this is not like a transaction. Don't act like these women are gold digging, but like niggas not getting anything out of it. Usually when that's happening, it's a mutual thing that is going on. So shut the fuck up. So I think that's how it hit me. I'm surprised that you're even fixing your mouth to even say that. You probably don't even believe it, but it put a nice little button on your joke. So professionalism, I guess. But I kind of hope that he doesn't do any more, because at this point, he's got a lot of money. He doesn't have to do specials anymore. And I also feel like he needs to go and have some different experiences so that he has something to say. like a lot of stand-ups, they always talk about they want success, like the really popular ones. They want success, but then they're kind of afraid of getting that sitcom deal because it makes you lazy. And you start not doing as much stand-up and not traveling. And so then it makes your world very small. And the thing that caused you to hit was like having these very specific things to say, and also like not having money. And I feel like you don't really need to give us anything anymore. And if he's not already doing this, I think he should put his time and energy into like looking for the next thing and putting his, his platform and his dollars behind somebody that's like trying to get on somebody's show.
Why don't he do production, or why don't he try? I think, honestly, when's the last time I've appreciated Chris Rock? When he was in that one television series that was a derivative of the Coen brothers film. You know what I'm talking about?
Fargo?
Fargo.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. I heard it was good.
I have enjoyed Chris Rock in all of the serious roles that he played, even back when he played Pookie in New Jack City. He is a really good actor. So I'm like, continue your acting pursuits. Get behind the camera. Start directing things. You know,
if he hasn't already. I know he's written things, but then again, he's directed things before because he's mentioned it in other comedy specials. So I'm just like, brother, you know what? I want you to shine. You go ahead and shine in the acting and the directing. Stand up. Hey, you know what? Later on, if you want to come back to it, great. But like after this thing, like, nah, it's not for you anymore. Right. And we know why he did it. I mean, it was very ingenious to hold your response until you could get $40 million for it.
Yeah.
But no more, because Tambourine was his Here, My Dear. The divorce had gone through, and he was like, let me go ahead and I'm just going to do one lump sum.
Can we call it a swan song, if you will?
Yes.
Was that his comedic swan song? Wonderful. You got the extended version available? Yeah. Just, yeah. We don't have any hatred for you, Mr. Rock. You know, your father of strong young Black daughters. More power to you. You've had a wonderful, illuminating career where you have gone many places and done many things. Hurrah! Kudos to you. Stop with the selective outrage shit. It's not for you anymore. And that's okay. That's okay. We don't love you or hate you, if you will, any less. Is that our show?
That's our show.
Thank you for listening to Tangentially Speaking. This podcast is recorded and produced by Nita Sharice and Nikki Ebo. Our theme music is Lush Living by Martin Landstrom. Our artwork was created by Prime Vice Studios. You can learn more about this intellectual property development agency at primevice.com. Find us on your favorite podcast player and YouTube. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. And be sure to follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter.